All right, here we go. Hey, hey, hey. Uh-oh, is it actually showing like that? Okay. I think there we go. Oh, yeah. Okay, not today. All right, there we go. All right, hey y'all, what's going on? Listen, I tried to use green screen and it wasn't happening. So we'll do the green screen background another day. But hey y'all, hey, let me give you guys an opportunity to get on in the room before we get this thing going. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hey, hey, hey. If you guys are just tuning in, let me know who you are. If this is your very first time catching one of my broadcasts, I want you to say, hey, what's going on, Gersha? Hey, hey. Oh, my throat is doing something a little funny. Hey, hey there, what's going on? All right, I'm going to give just a couple minutes and then we're going to get moving and going. I'm excited about today's topic. Ooh, come back. Okay, here we go. I'm super excited about our topic for today. Okay, there we go. Let's see who else is saying hey. Hey, Michael Segal, what's going on? Hey, Takia, I know it's good to see you on here. What's going on? Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. All right. I'm going to give just another quick moment. And actually, I am actually also going to share this out. That's right. I am live in 4 places right now. And yet, I'm going to push this out to one more place. So I'm live on Facebook in our Facebook group. Hopefully you're a part of our Facebook community. If not, go to kingdombosslive.com to join our incredible Facebook community. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. But I'm also going to share this to my personal page. Quick nugget about why I do this. I go live specifically from the business page because for ads and retargeting, it's best to go live from my page. But then, of course, I always like to publish it to the personal page so that I can get those views as well. So that's just a quick pre-show nugget for somebody who's been wondering, like, what's the best way for me to share this? I always go live on a page where I can do an ad or retarget my audience. But of course, people on my personal page want to see this as well. So let's go ahead and share that out. All right. So let's get this thing going, y'all. Well, hey, 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 everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kingdomboss Masterclass. Super excited that you could be here with me today. And listen, we are debuting, well, for the second week, our brand new time back to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you were used to catching us in the evening, now you can catch us on your lunch break. So be sure to come in and tune in. What is Kingdomboss Masterclass? This is the place where we have kingdom conversation for kingdom CEOs, and we really talk about what it means to thrive in your spirit, soul, body, and business. And so I'm really excited about today's topic because for a number of reasons. And so I decided to give this topic the name Go Another Way. We're going to talk today about taking a detour or another route to actually get to your goals. And I know that many of us have had to pivot all year because of COVID. We've had dreams, we had things we wanted to do, and we weren't necessarily able to do them the way in which we imagined, but we have been able to still do them. And so if you're in a place where you're still trying to figure out how you can make some of those dreams happen, then this is going to be a good episode for you. But before we dive into today's topic, I have a question for you guys. Okay. So the holidays are coming up, right? And my timeline has been filled with this conversation about Christmas decorations. So I want to know today where you guys are on the scale when it comes to Christmas decorations. So I'm going to give you three options. I want to know, are your decorations already up? That's one. Okay. Are you waiting until after Thanksgiving? Or are you person three and you're like, what decorations? All right. So let me run through them again. Person one says, my decorations are already up. Whatever. It's 2020. COVID's been crazy. My decorations are up. Type of one if that's you. Person two says, no, I still like to wait until after Thanksgiving. And person three is like, what decorations? Oh my goodness. Okay. So Gersha said two, waiting until after Thanksgiving. Okay. I'm curious. And then I want to know what you guys think I am. I want you to guess as well and tell me, what person do you think I am? Okay. So Shanice says two. Okay. So we got a lot of twos. Now, if you're not from the Maryland area and you're watching this and you hear my accent and I'm saying two, I am from Baltimore, Maryland. And yes, we do pronounce that word a little funny. Okay. So I didn't even know I had an accent till I got to college. And that was the dead giveaway word right there. So now I hear it every time I say it. Okay. Takia says two. Okay. So we got a lot of twos. I'm surprised because on my timeline, I feel like so many people have like decorations have been up. Okay, so Sagia says, I think yours might already be up. Gersha says she thinks I'm a one. This is interesting. Amanda says she's a three. Okay. Or a two. So I'm guessing, Amanda, you think I'm a two. Is that correct? I think you're saying you're a three, but you think I'm a two. So this is interesting. Nobody thinks I'm a two. Everybody thinks I'm either a one or a three, which is interesting. I could see either. I will tell you, hint, I am one of the two. I'm not a number two. It is one or three. And I think it's funny because I understand why you guys would assume that I'm number one, because obviously I'm a planner. My whole 2021 is pretty much mapped out. But I'm going to surprise you guys today. I am actually a number three. And you're probably like, what? Are you kidding me? Honestly, guys, I mean, I do the bare minimum. And honestly, I want to say, was it last year? It was either, I know. I don't know what it is, y'all, but I think one of the past 2 years, I didn't even have a tree. I think it might have been last year. The year before, or was it the year before? No, I think the year before I didn't have a tree. Last year, I did go ahead and break down and at least do a tree. I can't even explain why. I love Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I love spending time with family. But when it comes to like decorating the house and lights and trees, and I'm not interested. And I can't give you a good reason. My mother decorates the house like I don't know what. My mother is already like, she'll have like stuff in the window. And so I don't know, maybe I got burnt out between 0 to 18 with the elaborate decorations. I don't know, yo. I can't tell you. I knew you guys would be in shock when I said that. Like, everybody's like, what? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the energy. Now, I'm buying a house next year, looking to move, looking to get some more space. I don't know. Maybe that will inspire me to decorate a little bit more. We'll see. So I thought that would be fun to talk about. And look, I should have said this earlier, if you're watching this via replay, to put your guesses in, but you can't really do that now because, oh my God, you know what, Shanice, you're creative though. So I can see you going overboard, which again is why I see why you guys think or am surprised, because I'm also a creative too. And so the funny thing is, when I do finally decide to maybe get into it, I have that kind of personality, and I think you know this. It's not going to be anywhere in the middle. It's going to be huge or nothing at all. So yeah, you got that guess right. All right, y'all. So let's talk about this. I wanted to talk about going another way. How to maybe take a detour or a different route to reach your goals. And I'm also going to be sharing with you some really key insights and lessons I learned as I was producing my first album during a pandemic. Like, not only producing an album, but your first one during a pandemic. Like, who told me, So for those of you who don't know, because the algorithm is just all crazy, my brand new album will be out on Monday, November 23rd. Woo! So I'm super excited. Stay tuned to my social media, stay close, or you can even go to TiffanyBethia.com to find out more information. But I wanted to kind of pull you guys behind the scenes of how I was able to do it and how it's relevant for you as you're making your goals and dreams come true this year. All right. So let me kind of walk you through the timeline. Let me kind of tell the story and the nuggets and the lessons that came along at each point. Right. In January, thank you, Gersha. I'm assuming that's a wine bottle, the emoji. So I think January, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and stop playing this year. I'm a worship leader at my church. I've been a worship leader for years, and let me just go all the way back. I've been singing my whole life. I wrote my first song at 12, and most of my life I was preparing. I wanted to be an R&B singer, Broadway and just lights and all that, right? Which is why if you watch me, you see the actress in stage, you see my stage, you see it. I'm just like, like, I'm not just like that on camera. I'm like that unless I'm tired. So for some reason, when I became a worship leader, started singing in church, that became my portion. I was like, I'm good with that. I don't want to be an artist. I'm fine, whatever, right? And I'm going to be super honest, because here's lesson number one. The real reason why I decided that wasn't because like my love for music was gone. I didn't like some of the things I saw in the gospel industry. I knew the secular industry was crazy. I was like, they're the world. They're supposed to be like that. But I looked at the gospel industry and was like, y'all crazy too, and I'm not interested. And so here's the first lesson that I had to realize was not to allow external circumstances to decide how I was going to move with my God-given dreams. Some of you are looking at industries and you're saying it's flooded, it's this, it's that, I don't think there's room for me. All of that external stuff, which has nothing to do with the fact that God has deposited a gift inside of you and he's requiring a return on that thing. Okay, that's why he cursed, in the word, he cursed the fig tree that was just standing there not being fruitful and productive. That is God's attitude toward us. Now, of course, he has love and grace for us, but he desires that we would bring forth fruit with the gifts that he's given us and not to return back, like we also see in the word where he had given out talents to different ones. And to one that he gave a talent, they went and hid it in the ground and was actually proud to come back and say, look, Lord, I brought the talent back. And he was like, no, I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for a return on that. Right. And if I really wanted to talk about that, that talent was actually money. Like we hear that, and so and because of our English language, we're thinking of singing, dancing. No, he gave them money. Like, and so that's just a whole that's just a whole kingdom principle. So I'm not going to get into that today, but the point is, God, what I realized was that God was saying, I don't care what the industry's got going on. I don't care about any of that. My word is still my word. I put songs in you and I need them back out, please. So finally I got through that lesson and I realized, all right, I don't care what's going on in the industry. And it's true. Some people it is, some people are that. It doesn't matter. I have to use the gifts that are inside of me. So finally, January, I got my head all the way wrapped around it. Because sidebar, let me tell you something. For those of you who are running, slightly disobedient, trying to figure out when you want to do what God asked you to do, he'll start to send you nudges. So for like a whole year, people in my church would like literally somebody every week would be like, oh my goodness, Minister Tiffany, when are you going to record? And I started being like, all right. All right, I get it. Every week, this is not a coincidence. Okay, fine, got it. And so, and I realized that the Lord has to give messages to me like this. If you've listened to how I found the Kingdom Boss, and many of my stories start like this, so me and G's gonna work on that. But finally, once I wrapped my head around it, I said, okay, cool. And then January, I decided, all right, let's go ahead and begin to think about putting a CD together. So February, I started making some phone calls. I start putting some pieces in place. And then February, March, right? So y'all, here we go. And pivot number one. I was supposed to meet a good friend of mine had connected me with this producer here, local producer doing great things. And I was supposed to meet with him on the day that Hogan put the stay in order in place. Now, for those of you who are not in Maryland, that's our governor. The day that Governor Hogan was like, go home until I tell you to come out, was the day I was supposed to meet with the producer. So I was like, ugh. So here's the thing. I'm in Baltimore, like in Baltimore City, right? Not far from downtown. He lives closer to DC area. So I was like, and I was really afraid. If he lived around the corner, I would have chanced it. But a brand new meeting with for the first time with, someone who lives almost an hour away, I was like, I don't want to chance it. I didn't know how the stay-at-home order was working. Are people getting pulled over if it's not essential work? Like, I just didn't know. So I said, you know what? I can't make it today. Let me just wait and see what happened. And y'all been living through 2020. So y'all see what has happened. So that producer, that whole thing got shelved. And so honestly, toward the end of March, I thought to myself, all right, well, I guess I'm going to have to wait until 2021 to do my music. I was super bummed. I was just frustrated. And I was like, I finally decide to get ready. And then now I have to wait. And then so I was in a conversation with somebody maybe a week or two after that. And they were telling me about like producers who had, gone another way. Like, prime example, they were telling me about the Old Town Road, Lil Nas X. And somebody was saying to me, do you know he bought that beat? Like, he bought that beat. Like, there are different sites where producers place instrumental tracks that you can purchase, mix, arrange, and do the whole nine. And so here we go. That was when the light bulb went off. That, wait a minute. Oh, there's another way that I can go about this. And so the first thing is I had to posture my heart that I would be in a position to be willing to try it another way. Now, sidebar, I grew up in the studio. Like I said, been singing my whole life, different groups, choirs, the whole nine. So I've grown up in the studio. So I know what this process looks like of going in there and either listening to a track that's already finished and you're writing to it, you're arranging, or I've seen beats made from scratch in front of me. So that was my preconceived notion of, okay, we're going in the studio to create music. I'm gonna listen to the tracks that the producer has, or I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna talk about what I'm feeling, how I want it to sound, what I want to say, and then we'll create it. That was not the process. at all because I didn't have an opportunity to go be in person with the producer. And so what am I saying? I'm saying that for some of you, it's not that you're just married to the goal, you're married to the way you believe it has to get done. And at some point, you're going to have to be flexible enough to say, okay, here's the goal. Here's what I believe God is telling me to do. But maybe I have to do it another way. Maybe I wanted to do this big in-person conference. And instead of waiting until 2021, maybe I need to just go ahead and do something virtual. Maybe I wanted to do something in this big group. And instead, maybe I need to do something in a smaller, more intimate, safer space. So the first thing is a heart posture, y'all, that I'm willing to go another way. It reminds me of the man who Jesus healed in the Bible, who they had to lower him through the roof. Listen, the crowd was too thick. They couldn't get through. That brother was not trying to go home. His friend said, oh, no, watch this. We're going up to the roof and we're going to lower him down because we done came this far and you're going to get your miracle. And I want somebody to have an I will go through the roof mentality if I need to. I know that I was planning to do it this way, but guess what? It ain't looking like this way is going to be possible for who knows how long. So let me go another way. I want somebody to realize that it doesn't mean, oh, maybe this just means it's not my time. Nope. This means you're going to have to tap into the creative power that God has given you and actually be flexible and innovative. That's the word I was looking for, and innovative. Do you guys know all that they had to do to carry? Number one, they had to get up to the roof. Let's talk about that. They had to get up to the roof. Secondly, they had to do that while carrying somebody and then had to have the control to lower this man. They didn't just throw him and drop him, had to lower him at the right spot in the right place for him to get what he needed. And I think when we listen to those type of passages of scripture, we don't realize the hard work, the sweat that went into it. Listen, he never promised that it would be easy, but he promised that it would be possible. So for some of you, now I want you to have that mindset where, well, dag, it looks like the door is closed. Well, I'm going to have to just go through the roof because I know what God said to me and I know it's my time. You can feel in your gut when you know it's time, even if you don't want it to be. Even if you don't want it to be, you know you can feel when divine timing is coming together and you're supposed to make it happen now. And so if the door isn't open, go through the roof. So I found, because here's another nugget. My brother, who has put out so much music over the years, right, actually shared with me 2 really great resources where I could connect with producers virtually and be able to get tracks from them that could still be mixed, edited, the whole 9, right? And so that's actually the third. I'm not even keeping count. So y'all tell me what I'm on. I think I'm on number 3. But here was the third nugget, was that I had to ask someone. Some of you have been circling for months this year, trying to figure out how you're going to pivot, how you're going to make it happen. And it's because you don't have a community. There aren't people that you can plug into and ask them, hey, here's what I'm thinking of doing. I was trying to do this and now I can't quite do it that way, but do you know of any resources? I didn't figure it out by myself, and I wouldn't have. I don't know that I would have found. There's a bunch of sites, but quality ones with really excellent producers. I don't know that I would have found that site on my own. Oh, it would have been taking me months and months. But literally in one conversation of me saying, hey, yeah, this is what I was trying to do. Because I can't remember who told me about Lil Nas X and that option, but it wasn't my brother. I actually came to him later and said, hey, this is something I'm thinking about. And he was like, oh yeah, here's 2 sites you should check out. 3 actually. Actually gave me 3, right? Because there's 2 places that I ended up actually pulling excuse me, pulling the tracks from. Whoa, excuse me, had to wet my whistle. So some of you are just you're not connected enough. Now, can I talk to my fellow introverts for a minute? If you're an introvert, just type introvert in the chat, okay? I'm one. So it's not coming from, sometimes Extroverts might joke us and, you might feel away, but I am an introvert too. But one of the things I've had to learn on this purpose journey and over the past 8 years specifically is that, listen, everything rests on community. At some point, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, because this is what I really learned as introverts. It's not that we're shy. People don't understand introversion versus extroversion a lot of times. It's not about shyness and outgoing. I'm actually extremely outgoing, always have been, but I'm incredibly introverted. Introversion is about where your energy comes from, right? So we recharge internally. So people take energy. So I can go in an event and be outgoing and have fun, but the extrovert will leave out more energized. I will leave out worn out and like I need a nap because I just peopled for 2 hours. And so what am I saying? Sometimes as introverts, we don't place a great enough value on relationships because we have the ability to completely recharge internally. For extroverts, and my mother, my brother, most of my best friends. So I've been seeing this my whole life. At some point, sometimes they literally need people to recharge, but I don't. I can completely refill my own battery alone. And so what I've realized was that in previous seasons, I didn't value people enough because like, well, I need y'all for it. We don't say that, but that's what we feel. And so God had to do a heart transplant in me too. I don't feel that way anymore. I used to be the person in school who, when the teacher said, we got a group project coming, literally something in me just died. I was like, oh God, I hate working with people. But I don't feel that way now because God he did a whole new work in my heart where he showed me you are amazing alone. But the synergy that you're going to create when you get with other like-minded, powerful people, you can't reproduce that alone. And once I had that heart and mind change, now, oh my goodness, I am constantly nurturing relationships and pouring into relationships and asking questions. And I don't waste a lot of time trying to figure out things by myself when I'm plugged into multiple communities. That's one of the reasons that I created Kingdom Boss, so people can stop praying and fasting for 6 months and just go ask somebody, hey, what did you use to print your book? Hey, I want to do this journal. Hey, I want to do this thing. Some of y'all just be on the altar waiting for God. And he's like, I have the answer in a person, actually. And she could tell you today if you go connect and stop just looking to me. When God goes to bless us, he uses people. Listen, Taki, I feel that. I used to feel that way, but I don't anymore. And I know that was only the work of God. But it's because, especially for, again, we're talking CEOs, as entrepreneurs, it's one of the first things you have to get. Besides your idea, before you even start branding and building, I'm like, get in a community. That's okay. That's awesome. Yeah, make sure you connect with your son as well. Absolutely. So that's the thing I want you guys to really get from this part of the conversation is that me finding the answer, me finding the resource that I needed, I found in another person. Yeah, I could have Google searched and, but having somebody who can say, this is a reputable site. I've used it. I recommend it. What saved me so much time. And for some of you, the answer you need, the piece that you need to make your next step into what you're trying to build, you're Googling it, you're YouTubing it. And if you could just get a part of a community or have the humility, you're in a community, but you just won't ask for what you need. If you could just say, hey guys, this is what I'm trying to do. So take a, lower the value in your mind of having to look like you figured it out by yourself. There's no prize for that. There's no prize for that. And actually the opposite, because truly successful people never do it alone. They have somebody or somebodies that help them. And so for some reason, we have this badge or award in our mind that we think figuring it out by ourselves, we're going to be celebrated for that. But it's the incredible opposite. Read, Think, and Grow Rich. If you're new here, I'm always talking about books. So just get used to me. I'm going to give you at least one book every episode. Okay, because books have really changed my life. But Think and Grow Rich, and when he talks about masterminding and that being a tip of the wealthy, listen, figuring it out by yourself is not a wealthy habit. And when the sooner you can get that through your heart, you will drastically change how you show up in spaces. Because every space I go into now, whether it's virtually or in person, I'm looking to, and I'm like, what do I need? And I'm looking to see where I can get it from. I'm gonna ask my questions. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm not wasting any time Googling and just figuring it out or circling for months. I don't have that kind of time. I love it. She says, and that's been my growth point for the last few years. I get it, because I had to make that same jump. I really did. It was a big one too, because I used to be like, oh God, PayPal. And now I'm the complete opposite. So let me bring this ship in a little bit. So that was April. By the end of April, May, I had all of my music picked out. I listened to hundreds of tracks and songs and all of that. Finally picked. Now, here's the funny thing. I was only going to do an EP at first. I was only going to do an EP at first. And so 3-4 songs for those of you who are not in the music business and you like, I don't know what the EP is. I was only going to do like 3 or 4 songs and not a full album. But the more I kept listening to the music, I was loving more tracks. And when you finally get to this space where God has asked you to be, here's number 4. The real you will just gush out. When I say that the songs were pouring out of me so fast that I couldn't even catch it. I was like recording stuff in my phone and like writing stuff down. It was, God was like, I was waiting, sis. He was like, I was waiting for you. And the music came gushing out of me. At one point, I actually had to stop and say, okay, I'm gonna stop at this number of songs. And already now I'm going to be working soon on music for next year. So that's the other thing I want to share with you is that, listen, some of you are afraid of, well, can I do this? Can I make it happen? I haven't been doing it in so long. I hadn't sat down to really write a song in a few years. And even then I wasn't in the habit. It was sporadic, right? But because that's who I am, because that's who God has made me, it came pouring out of me. Ooh, here's number 5. I got to tell you this too. Another nugget I learned is that nothing is random. God will use everything. Nothing is random. God will use everything. So what do I mean by that? To make this make sense, let me tell you a quick story. I was a music major my freshman year. And then I did between freshman and sophomore year, I auditioned for Sony, the label Sony, right, as an artist. And the A&R said to me, you have a little bit too much classical training, because that was how Hampton music department was, all classical. You couldn't even sing gospel. They were like, nope, let's get the foundations of your voice and then you can sing all that other stuff. So I guess I came off like with that classical feel, even though I was trying to sing R&B. And he was like, yeah, you need to lay off on the R&B, on the classical training. It's kind of hurting your soul. I was like, ooh, okay. So that was the reason, y'all, that I changed my major to business. I had no plans of becoming the marketing lady and all this stuff. No plans. But here's how God uses everything. While I have not written songs consistently over the past few years, one of the things I have been doing is copywriting, which is basically writing copy or writing. So for websites, for campaigns, for any type of marketing, email marketing, social media, I've been writing. And it was so funny because when I started to write songs again, I was like, ooh, I haven't written in a while. And God was like, you write every day. You're a creative writer. It's the same gift. The songwriter is the copywriter. The reason that you're able to write incredible copy for websites and social media is because you naturally think like a songwriter. So you don't write boring. You're writing from emotion and color and picture. And I was like, you know what? That is so true, God. That's how I write. When I write website material and anything I write is always vivid. And that's the song is one gift. And so I want you to realize that whatever that God is calling you into right now, and you feel like, well, I don't know if I'm prepared, I haven't been doing that. I guarantee you that where you are right now, God has still been sharpening that gift. God has still been using it. And none of it is random. And everything you're doing, even now, no matter how far off you feel, is preparing you for the very thing God is asking you to do. He knew all the detours and turns that you would take, and it might seem random to you, but it's very calculated for what your next steps are. All right. So I want you to know that none of it's random. You're prepared. You've been preparing in some type of way that you show up in your job, in ministry, in your home, with your family. You've been preparing for the thing that he's going to ask you to do. And yeah, you might have to sharpen it a little bit when you get there, but you are prepared. And I want you to go see the post I posted today about the difference between preparation and being ready, because I don't even have time to go into that, but that's a whole thing. But tell your neighbor, somebody type in the comments, I am prepared. All right, y'all. So long story short, I'm gonna have to come back and do a part 2. I'm gonna have to do a part 2 next week because I haven't even made it up into me getting into the studio and all of that. So I'm gonna do a part 2 next week. But here's why I'm gonna wrap it up today, was that by the end of April, May, I had all of my tracks picked out, and I began to write my songs. And as I was writing, I was realizing this gift didn't go anywhere. I thought I wasn't using it, but I was still sharpening it, and God was still preparing me. All right. So I want you to remember that don't be married to how you think you have to get the goal done. Just be married to getting the goal done. You may have to go a different way. There may be a different method that God will use, but he already knew the time when he was going to call you to get it done. Maybe it's not a big in-person event. Maybe it's something virtual. Maybe it's a course. Maybe it's an ebook. It may be totally different than what you thought it was going to be, but God knew ahead of time, and he already has that way prepared for you. All right, guys. So I want you to tell yourself, if there's a goal you're working on right now and you're like, yeah, I've been kind of doing it, but I can't really do it the way I want to. There you go, the way you want to. Now ask God, oh, okay, God, what is the way you would like for me to do this? All right. I can't wait to get into part 2. I didn't realize this would be a 2-parter, but next week I'll get into a little bit more about actually recording the album, how I got a bad case of acid reflux right in the middle of recording. I'm going to just talk about all the obstacles I had to overcome to get to the place where my first album was done in a pandemic. Yes, come on, declare it. I'm prepared. I'm prepared. I'm prepared. You are prepared. I love it. All right, guys. So listen, every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, takes while you're on your lunch break or whatever you're doing, come be edified and inspired. Next week, I'm going to talk about part 2 of this journey. And I will see you guys here next week. I'm super duper excited. In between now and next week, don't forget that Monday, November 23rd, the album will actually be available on all streaming platforms, and you can simply go to TiffanyBethia.com. Hopefully you're following me on one of these platforms where we're live. Wherever you're watching me, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you'll be able to find out more about the album right on that platform. All right. So I'm praying, I'm touching and agreeing today that God will reveal his timing and his method for what you're supposed to do next with your dream or your goal. His timing, God's plan is not moved because of COVID. He's got something already pre-planned for you. And when you seek him, he'll reveal it. All right, guys, have a great, great, great rest of your day. Bye-bye.